Hey guys, Billy Davidson here with Davidson Pressure Washing Painting, Hammond, Louisiana. I want to talk about downstream injectors in this video. As we all know, downstream injectors is one way that we can apply a chemical solution to a structure. Another way is through a soft wash skid, an X-Jet, or if you would just want to do a pump up sprayer. All of those methods is a way to apply a chemical solution. But we know these downstream injectors are finicky at best. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So a couple tricks I'm going to show you here today in case you are on a job site and your downstream injector stops working. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but this is a way that you can try that might work for you. We've had a lot of good luck with it. So usually a downstream injector will stop drawing a chemical solution when this little check ball gets stuck. So there are a couple things we can do to prevent that. One is rinsing this thing out very thoroughly after each job. Usually I rinse it out and then drop it into a clean, fresh bucket of water, the entire thing submerged. Whether it's overnight or a few days, this needs to be cleaned out anytime you draw a sodium hypochlorite solution or any other type of solution for that matter. Now, let's say you go to pull this out, you're on a job like we are today and it's stuck and it's not drawing, as this one is not drawing today. So this check ball in this downstream injector prevents a backflow of water whenever you are pressure washing and the injector is installed on the machine. Now when you put your black tip in or if you open your ball valve, this is designed to cause a Ventura effect to start drawing a vacuum, if you will, through this small tube. Now this check ball is not much there. It's a tiny spring and a tiny check ball, and at least a little bit of trash or corrosion gets on that check ball, it's not going to draw a solution. So this check ball actuates up and down when it's on the machine. When it's in a down position, it gets to a point to where it's not going to let a backflow of water pressure come through your pickup tube. So oftentimes these check balls get stuck in a down position. So what I like to do is give it a couple little taps, and then I'll show you a couple other little tricks we got once we get it working. So guys, what I usually do is just turn this upside down and give it about 3 good hard taps. And sometimes that'll dislodge that check ball. Let's check it out and see if it's worked. So I've snapped everything in. And you want to make sure these collars are fully snapped in, because whenever you let off the trigger, you're going to have a burst pressure build up at this point somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000 psi, generally speaking. So you want to make sure these collars are snapped in all the way. This could dislodge and actually blow off and become a projectile. So always make sure these are snapped in properly. Also, if you have an O-ring leak or some type of other malfunction to your quick connects or your threads, these parts need to be changed out immediately. Stop doing this process and change those out. Reason being is if there's a quick connect or something malfunction or an O-ring dislodge, this could become a very personal hazard to you. All right guys, we got everything snapped in very safely and secure, so we're going to go ahead and start the machine and see if this draws soap or has a vacuum on it. Now when I have a couple 100 feet of pressure hose on the end of my pressure washer here with an open ball valve just sitting over there safely, so I'm going to turn this on only on an idle to see if I have a vacuum. Now also I'll say here, if you have too much pressure hose, this will build up too much back pressure on this downstream injector and cause it not to draw soap. Also, before we go any further, I want to let you know, if you go to BillyDavidsonVIP.com, you can find some phenomenal training videos and courses on pressure washing to help you grow your pressure washing business. Also, there will be a link in the description and the first pinned comment in the comment section below. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and get this started and see what happens. So, I can hear the vacuum coming through the tube already. So those 3 hard taps have seemed to work. If that doesn't work, you can also take the tube off and get a tip cleaner, which is actually a long, narrow piece of wire, and try to dislodge that ball. Now there's another step that we're going to show you here in a second. As my next step is taking any type of alcohol, like a rubbing alcohol or at least 50% or above, and I will, since I have a vacuum here, it's not all that strong. I'm going to clean that check ball and that spring system with alcohol, and then I'll have another step after this. So basically, and it doesn't take much, just about a quarter of a cup, a half of a cup to draw it through. So now we're in it. We're going to draw that out through it. Now this drawing through this pickup tube is cleaning that check ball and that spring mechanism. Also, this can be, you can use vinegar here as well. It's almost the same principle as you descaling a coffee maker. You've probably seen that in the past where you run vinegar through the system a couple times. It basically helps get some of the hard water mineral off of that check ball and that spring mechanism. Alright guys, my next step is putting some WD-40 through this pickup tube. A good 3 or 4 good long presses of this will inject some WD-40, and again, that is going to go past that spring and ball valve mechanism because we do have a vacuum now. It's not much of a vacuum, but it's getting stronger each step that I do. So basically, I'm just going to insert that all the way down. Also, guys, make sure you wear eye protection when you're doing this because this could bounce back at you. All right, we're going to go ahead and give it one good press. And then I'll let off, and what that's letting that vacuum pull this WD-40 solution through that ball valve and spring mechanism. We'll do it again. And then we'll do it one last time. All right, guys, I think we're good to go. So anyway, try this before you replace your downstream injector, or either if you're stuck on a job and your downstream injector is no longer working, usually you can pick this up in any local dollar store or hardware store. Guys, anyway, I'm Billy Davidson here with Davidson Pressure Washer Painting. We hope to see you in the next video.